Rich, Tennessee Homestead. This is going to be the last of the series of regenerative agriculture, although we will probably have an opportunity for some Q&A. And matter of fact, this video would be a good place to put it. If you have questions about any of the topic, put it down in the comments, and I'll get back with you on it. I hope if you looked at the comments from the barn chat this week, you will see that I had some internet issues last week. Yeah, I got through that power thing and turned around and man, boom, I lost internet. Couldn't figure out what was going on. And got to doing some checking, and everything was working inside the house. Went outside, and during the thunderstorm that night, had about a 2.5-inch limb fall out of a tree. Dish is located on a pole right under the tree, and it just tore up the gun for the satellite dish. Yeah. Finally got the internet back Sunday, which would have been, 22nd. Got internet back on the 22nd. Yeah, craziness. But I'd already had that barn chat done. I was going to upload it last week, and son of a gun, just out of luck. So anyway, let me turn this thing off so I don't sit here getting chimed at. Alrighty. Anyway, the regenerative agriculture. I've given you folks just 99 9/10% of it. Now, as new products for it come out and things of this nature, we'll cover that. But for the most part, here's the basic tenets to rebuild your soil. First tenet, okay? Little to no tillage. Let me repeat that. Little to no tillage. Tillage destroys the microbiology in the soil, okay? Now, either it's going to deprive your plants of nutrients, you're going to have unhealthy plants, or you're going to have to fertilize the snot out of it, and probably put coatings on your seeds just to get enough microbiology in there to keep them alive. No point in it. Don't till. Okay? You can go through with a broad fork, kind of loosen things up, throw compost down, bed down into the compost. No tillage. Try to stay away from that. Tillage is destructive to your soil. It'll turn it into powder, folks. Okay? Water won't infiltrate. It'll run off. Things of this nature. Minimal, absolute minimal, or no tillage. First step in regenerative agriculture. Step 2. Always keep a living root on that soil. Always keep a living root on that soil. You want something growing all year long. Okay? Which means clovers, grasses, whatever. Okay, even some pretty flowers, some low ground cover flowering stuff. Anything that keeps something growing and that microbiology being fed all year long. Because without it, it dies. Okay, they got a very short lifespan. You start starving them out, it's over. Okay? It also helps to bust up your soil, keep it loose. It, just has, you're constantly pulling CO2 gas out of the air. It's just a win-win-win-win all the way through. The soil and that plant and those microbes need that carbon. Okay? Deprive the soil of it, you're going to lose things. You go through and you yank up all your plants and till it up, you've just released most of the carbon in that soil. Nothing for them to eat, folks. Okay? Clean fields lead to dead soil. If you just kind of keep that in mind. Keep something growing out there all year long. Okay? Number 3. Start weaning that soil off of synthetic fertilizers. Synthetic fertilizers are salt-based. Now, if you don't think salt-based stuff is not good for your plants, go out and throw some rock salt in your flower bed. See what happens to it all. It's going to kill it. It also leads to fusing minerals together in the soil and causes a lot of compaction, hard crusting, where you are not getting water into the soil, it's running off. So stay away from that, okay? Always keep armor on the soil, all right? Don't go out there and, when you're done with the cover crop and you're getting ready to go in with your regular crop, don't go out there and till the cover crop under. Roll it out, flatten it out, cut it with a scythe, whatever you need to do, but leave it laying on that ground. That's what protects your soil. Okay? Keep your soil covered with decaying plant material all year long. It protects your soil. It fertilizes your soil. It puts organic matter back in your soil, which feeds your microbiology. Win-win. Microbiology is the key to building good, healthy soil. If you got good biology growing and everything underneath that surface of that dirt is going like crazy, you're going to have healthy soil. Is it going to happen overnight? Not always. But yeah, a lot of times it can. You know, if you've got decent soil there that hasn't been compacted to dickens and tilled like crazy, you'll be in pretty good shape. For small gardens, things of this nature, go through it with the broad fork, loosen it up, put yourself down some good compost, and plant into the compost. And you're going to have decent output on your soil because you're keeping the microbiology intact. Also, the synthetic fertilizers for stuff like your fungi, it doesn't do those salt-based fertilizers worth a hoot. So you don't want to start throwing a bunch of that down. Initially, you may need to put some in, okay? But on like a house garden, things of this nature, you should be able to wean that soil off of synthetic fertilizers pretty quickly. But the key is going to be keeping that armor on the soil, keeping a living root in the soil. I mean, think about yourself. If you didn't get to eat all winter long, okay, from fall through winter, there was no food available to you, population would drop pretty quick. It really would. Although a lot of us could probably go the distance, and about the only thing would be as healthy when we come out the other side. But for microbiology, that's not the case. Always keep the soil armor down. That's decaying plants, decaying, grasses, whatever. Always keep that soil protected. Keep a living root in that soil as long as you possibly can. All right. Now, if you're up in Alaska, it's going to be not necessarily real easy to do with the temperatures you get up there, or some of the northern states. As long as you can, folks. Don't go pulling plants, okay? Especially in the gardens. Don't pull them. Cut them off. Leave the root in there. What's that going to do for you? Well, to start with, that root is still alive. It's still got goodies in it for the microbiology. And then as it breaks down, it adds organic matter to your soil. But you'll see people out there yanking stuff up out of the ground all the time. Cut it off. Use the top of the plant for a part of your ground cover. Let the roots stay in the ground. When you go through with a broad fork, I'm talking about in gardens here, you go through with a broad fork on the thing, loosen the soil up, go down with some good compost, you've got a bed now to plant in. And that biology in that soil is still working. Simple. It is very simple. That's what happens in nature. Okay? You have a forest fire go through, or a grasslands fire go through the plains. Rarely does it get hot enough to burn that root. It may take everything off the surface, but it's not going to burn that root. All right, you're still going to have roots down in there that microbiology can continue to feed off of for a bit. Not forever, but for a bit. And then a lot of it goes dormant. Just follow those steps. Whether you're doing a small garden in your backyard, okay, or you're doing acres, it's all the same. Know what the resources you're trying to address are, because that will matter what kind of cover crop you put in. Now, in small gardens, I can't see you out there planting a bunch of sorghum and Sudan grass and sun hemp and stuff like that in your garden, because it's going to be quite the pile of junk by the time you're done laying there on the ground. But there are a lot of crops, and that's where it's going to take you looking at your individual area, looking at your soil analysis and your individual area, and having some heart-to-heart talks with some of these seed companies about what would be best for as a ground cover in a garden such and such size in my area. Okay, because it's going to change area to area. So what would work for me, or work for somebody farther south, isn't going to work for somebody up north. Okay, and it's not even going to work on all the regions in the south, because you got sandy looms and clays and everything else. All right, so that is basically regenerative agriculture. Quit tilling. Put the tiller away. Put it up for sale. Okay. That's number one. Get yourself broad fork. And if you're doing larger gardens and stuff of this nature, like I said, that one company that I left a link to on one of the other deals, they're coming up with a power broad fork that you put behind one of those BCU units, or behind a 3-point on a tractor. It does the same thing as what a standard broad fork does, except for it's mechanical. Problem solved. Go out there, you do that, you come in, you spread out some compost, you plant into the compost, you're done. Right? You can also go in for row cropping, roll that down with a cultipacker, and it puts the armor back on the soil, snaps the plant off at ground level, breaks it in half, kills the plant. Then your root structure still has a little life in it. It'll keep you going until your new crop takes root. Go through with a drill, plant your crop right into it. It works, folks. The research has been done. It works. You're going to have great yields. You're going to have better nutritional value out of your food. It's that microbiology that puts that nutrition in that plant. Chemical fertilizers don't put that kind of nutrition in the plant, because they pack it with minerals and vitamins, and that's what it's all about. It's a simple process. It's different. Okay, I'm not going to argue that fact with you. It is different. But the fact of the matter is, you can get in there and do it in your home garden, in your flower beds even, if you so desire. And definitely on row cropping, that is the way to go. And if you're a row cropper, if you're running a farm, you can do so much more with building your soil and the biology and the fertilization and so forth by incorporating livestock into that operation. And then you've got additional cash revenues from cows and goats and chickens and sheep and whatever else you're putting out there to graze that pastures. And a successful farm has numerous streams of income, or a homestead. It's got to have numerous streams of income. Other than YouTube, that seems to be the big one for them today. So, I got to be honest with you. With the consultant business, if I get back into farming here, I'm hoping this year, I don't know that I have time for this anymore. And originally, I started this channel out years back as a way to put information out there for my kids and my grandkids. Now, here of late, like I said in that one video, and I had, matter of fact, the barn chat from, I guess, the 16th. I'm getting ready to pull that down today. They had, after all that editing, all that nonsense, they had went ahead and monetized it for about 2 days. And then book, hit it again. And it's like, okay, I'm done. So that one, I took it off of monetization because I'd keep popping out there and see ads being ran, and I'd look at the revenue and not a dime come in from it. So it's like, no, not gonna play this with you. So I went ahead and demonetized it, and then when I get this stuff I'm working on today finished up, it's coming down. You know, it's sad. One of the things, though, about the regenerative agriculture that I really want to stress to you, everybody, especially homesteaders, a lot of homesteaders and preppers and things of this nature, are worried about sustainability. What happens when it all hits the fan? All right. Well, you're not going to have diesel fuel. You're not going to have, synthetic fertilizers. You're not going to have a lot of this stuff you're using right now today. How are you going to farm? How are you going to get good crops, healthy crops that are nutritionally packed with what you need when you don't have access to this stuff? Well, regenerative agriculture, if you build your soil, and that's the reason for building your soil now, you can slowly wean it off the fertilizers. You can start getting away from all the tillage. All right? And start working on principles to where you don't need all that nonsense to grow a crop. Okay? You can end up pulling, they've got drills out there to pull behind horses. And if you really think that that's the direction we're headed in, to where an EMP shoot off or whatever, then you might want to get used to working with some horses or mules. Okay? And start getting some basic equipment for that. Okay? Because you can get things like horse-drawn balers and disc cutters, or, well, sickle cutters for the horse-drawn. Things of this nature, and rakes to help put up even hay for your animals. Something to really think about. Okay? Really. Something to think about. Cows are a little hard to train to harness work. It has been done. Okay? Half of the little pilgrims coming into the heading west, their covered wagons was being pulled by oxen and by cattle. So, they can be trained for it. I've never tried it, but I see that it had been done. Start looking at things of that nature. You're gonna be out of diesel fuel for that tractor in short order if the world really falls apart. Let's hopefully it does, at least while I'm still here. Okay? I'm hoping we'll make it to the end of it by then. But that's it. That's all it is. It's very simple. Keep decaying plant material down on that soil as armor. Keep a living root in that soil as long as you possibly can. And always plant a cover crop and so forth, so that you've got living plants. Taking the CO2 gases out of the atmosphere and stuffing it into the ground so that microbiology has something to eat. And at the same time making them cookies and cakes as a dessert. And it's a wonderful system. Can't be beat. Mother Nature knows how to do this. Okay? Doesn't have to worry about diesel fuel. Doesn't have to worry about GMO seeds. And doesn't have to worry about stupid things like fertilizers. Okay? You don't either. Just wean yourselves. You're going to be the hardest one to wean off of. The ground will do just fine. It'll recover quickly. Us as humans, we're used to, just go shake this out onto the dirt and throw your plant in and it'll take off. That kind of thinking has led us to where we're at today, and it's pretty sad. Okay, so let's try to use our heads for something besides the hat rack, and get out of this craziness we're in. USDA's spent a lot of money out there showing us that indeed, you want to make money, you want to have a profitable farm or a profitable homestead, there's the way. Roll up your sleeves and get to it. There's nothing more they can do. They've showed it to you. Okay? And what a lot of folks don't understand is like, well, where'd this all come from over the past few years? The research in microbiology of the soil really has come into its own over the past few years. It was kind of one of those, nobody was really looking hard at it. When they began to look hard at it, that's when the forehead slapping came in and said, why didn't we see this before? Why didn't we think about this? They just didn't connect the dots. Now they've connected the dots, and they've done the field work to know that this does work. And it works large scale and small scale. Anyway, if you guys have some independent questions about regenerative agriculture that have been kind of bouncing around the back of your mind, put them in the comment section down there. We'll start getting it answered for you. Because everybody's going to run into different things, okay? Every homestead's different. And you're going to have different sets of circumstances to look at. And there's some things that I haven't covered. If you're out doing row cropping, make sure you crimp your crops down in the same direction you plan to run that drill. Otherwise, it's going to get tangled up in it. Okay? Follow the same path. So kind of keep that one in mind when you're knocking this stuff down out there in your fields. If this is the path you're going to run with that drill, that is the same path you want to run with that cultipacker. And a lot of guys, I've seen a lot of them using it, they hook the cultipacker to the front of the tractor and drill to the back. And that way there's no guesswork. As they roll it down, they're planting in it. Okay? Good way to make money. Think about that. If you're row cropping, think about no inputs for fertilizers. Think about no inputs for GMO seed, herbicides. Don't need it. Okay? Going to take you to get a little educated. You're going to have to do a little less beer drinking whenever you get done at the end of the day, and a little more research. But you'll learn what plants to put out there in your pasture mixes as you're putting your cover crops in that will keep the bad bugs away from your stuff. Okay? That's it. It's a simple process. Mother Nature's pretty simple. So let's give it a whirl. And like I said, if y'all have any questions and so forth you'd like answers to, go ahead and, put it down there. And if you think having a Q&A kind of thing for that stuff would be a good idea, I can put all my stuff together and maybe do a live feed where we can pop questions back and forth. Okay? But like I said, it's a general kind of thing. It's going to change area to area and soil type to soil type and so forth. So you're going to have to do some research for your place. But it works. And it works well. And they're using it in all sorts of things, right down to the small house garden. And it works. Why not? Let Mother Nature take care of it all for you. And let's face it, if you're out spending $20, $30 for mulches and fertilizers and all this to grow yourself a few tomato plants, if you calculated probably out the cost of per tomato, you'd probably be better off when going down to the store. Doing it the regenerative agriculture way, what's the seed cost you? That's all you're going to be out. All right? Y'all have a great day, and hopefully, like I said, if you have any questions, put them in the comment section down there. I'll get to it. Matter of fact, I got a bunch of comments I got to answer today when I get this all done, because I haven't been online. Broke my internet. Can you believe that? Tree limb fell right on the gun of the cotton picking dish. Now the dish is on the roof. I don't know who ever originally installed that thing underneath the tree. Sounds to me like you're just asking for it, but never paid no mind. Now I have, and it got relocated Sunday to the roof. So, and there's no trees around the back of the roof, so craziness, absolute craziness. Whew. Between the power and the internet, this has been a couple of weeks now of just too much. Anyway, I love you guys and I appreciate you. Like I said, don't think it's a silly question either. If you have a question at all, put it in down there. Okay, seriously, and we'll see about getting you an answer, even if it means going to your local extensions up there to get the information from. Y'all have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the week. Have a great weekend, and we'll be talking to you soon. Take care.